G'day, legends. Welcome to the Thursday Sesh by Celtic Down Under. I'm your host, Jared. Joining me are Jared, Remy, and Willie. How you going, Jared?
I'm going fantastic. Got this week off work, so can't complain.
You pinned the mic on before the show. He had it on a pen, and his dog was watching it like this. So it looks like he must have fixed it.
It's on here now.
Yeah, there you go. How you going, Willie?
I'm going pretty well. Another busy week for me, so hopefully things will slow down for a little while soon. I need a bit of a breather.
Fair enough. You got the what's it called? The apprentice driving you around, being your pleb. Is that what's going on? Or?
Pretty much, yeah. I'm allowed to drive. I managed to get a work license, but I'm only allowed to drive to and from work. No sort of little ticky tours on the way here or there. So, and if somebody's a licensed driver, they have to do the driving whilst I'm in their presence. So,
fair enough.
It's getting there, so
he's figuring it out. Anyway, we've got plenty to get through tonight. So what I'll do is I'll start the show off as usual. We'll give the two of you your final little thoughts on anything you want to touch on from last weekend's game against Hibs, considering we're playing them again this weekend. So is there anything that you want to talk about from that game, or should we just move along and we'll discuss that later on? What are your thoughts? Come on, anyone?
I thought the away top was absolutely lovely. Great performance. 60 minutes of quality football, and then the game sort of petered out. So really happy with the way things went. A couple more goals would have been nice, but other than that, good game of football to watch.
Anything, Jared?
Yeah. I'm now 2 from 2 in picking the final results. So that will probably end this weekend. I thought it was going to end 15 minutes into that game. But yeah, it was not a great second half by us, but we seemed to get out relatively unscathed, except for Mikey Johnson.
I think the funny thing, Jared, when it comes to our predictions, you're probably going to have more right. And for me, I think that the thing is, who's going to have more, like me, more wrong or you more right? That's pretty much the way, because I throw some of the most ridiculous things out there every week deliberately. So, like I'll say now this weekend we're going to smack them. It's going to be more than it was last, but I'll give you the number later on in the pod. So there's your teaser. Before we get into everything, if you're watching in the pod on YouTube and you haven't already done so, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell for when we go live. And yeah, I'm just trying to grow the channel. I think we're about 110 people off hitting the 4,000 subscriber count. So we're trying to push for that 4,000. So if you haven't done so, please do it. Helps us out a lot. Well, Idah, honey, I'm home. He's finally here. Took a long while, and I just want to get your thoughts on it. Are you happy with the fee that we've paid, Willie, or do you think we've overpaid? The reason I ask in that question is we know the sort of player he is. We know he's the player that we needed. He's not going to be overawed by the big occasions playing for Celtic. So I'm not worried about him, the player. For me, I want to address the fee because that's the main talking point. 2 weeks ago on this pod, everyone was saying, "Oh, we've got the money. We should just pay it and just get him in, get it done." And then suddenly we apparently paid £8.5 million for him with another million or so in add-ons, which is going to push him, make him our second highest, most expensive signing behind Edouard on the initial outlay. And with the add-ons, he will still be number 2 for us because Edouard with the add-ons pushed him up over the 10 million mark. So realistically, I'm looking at it going, paying that 8.5 or whatever up front, have we overpaid? Considering Miovski's gone to Girona for, was it 6.2 million, and with add-ons it'll push up to about 6.8 to 7 million pounds. That's what Aberdeen got for him. So what do you think, Willie? You happy with the fee we've paid? Are you happy that Idah's in the door, or have we overpaid for him?
I don't think we've overpaid for him. I think if we want our first team quality squad, then 7 to 10 million is the price range you're going to have to pay for a first team player. The current market, I think his value's a little, I think he's about right. He's probably to the high side of his valuation, but he's sort of within that range that I would say he's probably worth. So maybe a little bit more, but No, I've no quibbles with how much they've paid. Like I say, it's probably around that sort of 7 to 10 million mark what we should be paying for players. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we've only got ourselves to blame for this. We could have got him for 5 million if we put an option to buy at the end of his loan deal. So Norwich and says, look, you've got a ready-made player. He likes it up there. He knows he can score goals up there. He's good enough to play for you. This is what we want, and they put a bit more on the price. So, yeah.
As you said, Willie, we only got ourselves to blame because with that, like, I don't mind. I think what we paid's fine. I'm happy with it. I'm good with it. For two reasons. One, other than what I already discussed, the clubs know we're cash rich. So they're going to just be like, ooh, rubbing their hands together, let's get some money here. And the second thing was, when we signed him in January, we didn't do a future fee. He had another loan option to go to Italy, and he had a future fee agreed in that. I think it was for £3.5 to £4 million. It was in that sort of ballpark. We got him last minute. We hijacked that move and got him in with no future fee. And now this is a difference where we're paying double what we probably could have paid for him. But at the same time, I don't care. At the end of the day, he's worth it. He comes in, he's young, he's developing. I'm great with that. But Jared, I want to get your thoughts.
Right. Well, I just posted a video this morning on my channel about this exact topic, and I have all my notes right here. So I can repeat them. Pretty much what you were saying. I don't care about the fee. I am sick of the last several weeks listening to the annoying Celtic fans that just don't seem to be happy with anything and want to bitch about something. We've got all this money. Why aren't we spending it? Then we spend it and they're like, oh, we've overpaid. Like, shut up. Like, we've spent some money on a need. Like, our biggest need immediately was another striker because Johnson's now out. Kyogo has still got his little shoulder injuries. And if you look at what we paid for Idah, if you look at who is it? Haksabanovic or Lawal. All of the money we got for them pretty much pays for Adam Idah, and we also were subsidized by Rangers when they didn't make the Champions League. Instead of £4 or £5 million going to them for TV money, we now get all of the TV money. So half of his sign-on fee has been paid for by Rangers. So thank you very much, Rangers. Also, it might be 9 million, but if we paid 3 million or 9 million, his wages are going to be around about the same. He's not going to get paid a lot more wages as someone else would because he wants to be there. It's a $5 million contract, £5 million contract. Sorry, not 5-year contract, and he'll probably be here for closer to 5 years. So if you split up the 9 million over that time, we could have had someone for 4 million, but they might be here for 1 year. So we paid 4 million to have someone come in for 1 year. Also, if you look at the wages that we've went out on Haksabanovic, and Lowell, we've now saved on 3 wages for 1 wage. So we're actually up, if you look at it in terms of money. We're ahead. So I don't know why everyone is freaking complaining. We finally actually spend money, and then everyone starts bitching about it. Because we're not going to be spending it anywhere else. We might get left back, but everyone's like, oh, we need to have another midfielder, and we need more wingers, and we need this and this and this. Like, realistically, we don't. And I don't think we're going to spend it anywhere else. So we got our number one need in the immediate time. And it's someone, like, look at how much we spent on other players like Ayeti. You look at wasted players that we spent 3-4 million on. You add them all up, and it's like 15, 16, 17, 18 million. And they're wasted. We're getting Idah for 9 million, but he's been here and we know what he's going to do. It's not a wasted 9 million like we could on an unknown. The end.
So on that, Jared, I've got something for you. You know how I was saying keep going when you got up to 18 million or whatever? We actually did it on a pod last year. We counted up all the ones that we signed for between 1 to 3 million. All these, these ones where like Stepan Skipkovic and Amado Baldi and all these sort of guys, and you add them all up, and over the course of like an 8-year period, we'd wasted 28 million.
Yeah.
And that's not including a Yeti. So let's not worry about that. But what you're saying is a good point, because something I was going to jump on is have a look at it. We lost Jota. We needed another winger. We needed another striker. We got Idah come in last summer. So those two come in the winter, our summer down here, but in the winter window, right? How were they funded? You've completely missed the biggest one of the lot. What we've done this summer, we've sold over for whatever 3.3 million, 4 million, whatever that was. You put that with the money that we got for a barter on that right wing. The barter money has covered Whun and has covered Idah, both on permanence on 5-year deals. Because Whun signed a 5.5-year deal. So they both have 5 years to go and they're paid for by that. So we haven't touched any of the other money that you mentioned there. The Haksabanovic money, that was the exact same amount that we spent on Sinisalo. So we got him for free too. Let's be honest. One out, one in, same money. Have we really spent anything this window? Not really. So I can see some stuff going on and we'll get into it. But there you go. Craigie White saying it here. We spent fuck all. Exactly. So, yeah, it's a bit of an interesting one here. But, yeah, we'll get through some comments here. So, morning from a soaking wet Edinburgh. Stephen Ray, hope you're doing well, mate. Smell the glove. G'day, legends. McLaughlin, that topic's coming. Don't you worry. Mahesh, you're saying have to question what the heck recruitment strategy was re the striker. Celtic blinked about Idah. Melski is a better striker. Girona know what they're doing. Celtic don't. I'm going to agree to disagree, okay? Because I would have signed Idah for this money regardless of if we got Miovski. He wanted to be at the club. I actually think Miovski suits our time. Not Miovski. Idah suits the club's timeline. You have a 2-tier striker system in that Kyogo's 28, 29, and Idah's 23. So over the next couple of years, as Kyogo hits the peak of his power and starts to taper off, Idah should be coming into his like going into his prime. So it actually suits it a lot better in my opinion.
The thing with Miovski as well is like he's an unknown quantity as far as Girona are concerned. They don't know if he's going to be able to do it in the league or not. Whereas we know Adamida can do it in SPL. So it's no risk. You know what I mean? You know you're going to get 9 goals in half a season. So if he gets a whole season and gets 18 goals, you'd be quite comfortable with that return from a striker. And the way it's going to set up, some games he'll play, some games Kyogo will play. They'll sort of rotate in and out of games, and one will get 60 minutes, one will get half an hour. There's going to be plenty of opportunity for both of them to score. If they both get 18 goals each, that's 36 goals from your front line. You'd be more than happy with that. Yeah. Plus the 6.8 million that Aberdeen have just made, that's just made them the second richest club in Scotland. So
100%, really.
Also, people keep saying, "Oh, we should have got Miovski." Like, it's up to us. If we want a player, we just go and buy them. Like, it takes 2 to tango. Like, one, did Miovski want to come to us? If he was going to stay in Scotland, would he rather stay in Aberdeen? He seemed to like it there. And 2, did Aberdeen really want to sell Miovski to us and make us stronger? Like, it goes both ways. We can't just be like, well, they sold him for 6-point-something million. We should have just bought him. Like, that's all great hypothetically, but we live in reality.
All I'm going to say on that as well with Aberdeen is it's hard for us to do business within Scotland because everyone knows second place is out of play for at the moment. So if Aberdeen didn't have to sell Miovski, they would have happily kept him because it would have put them in a better spot to target to come second overall and get a chance to go for a qualifier for Champions League, Europa League, whatever the coefficient ends up at next year. So at the end of the day,
I did hear a rumor today, speaking of Aberdeen strikers, I heard that with the money they've got from him, they're going to buy St. Johnston's striker because he has a release clause for, I think, 500,000 or something.
Which one?
Sidibe.
Oh, nice. That'll be good for them. He'll fit in well with the way they're playing so far.
They're doing well. I fear they're more than a few Rangers at the moment.
Jimmy Thurland's come in and he's actually got a plan. Yeah. That's the thing. You have a look at what Baltimore's doing over there, and he doesn't really have a plan that I was going to say Ibrox, but it's not at Ibrox. At wherever the homeless roam. So yeah, it's a bit of a interesting one. But yeah, I just think the whole thing is Mark McDonald's touched on it perfect here. If Adam does well in Champions League, the board will sell him for 30. Exactly. So yeah, I just think overall we've done well. Yeah, as Smell the Gloves saying here, strikers cost the most. 9.5 million is a big deal. Rattling the goals, 100%. So yeah, it's going to be a interesting one. And as Stephen Ray is saying here, if Celtic finish the window strong in all the positions everyone agrees need upgraded, like goalkeeper, left centre back, left back, a Rolly replacement plus Idah and Bernardo, does it matter the cost of each player? No, because we're sitting on tons of cash and we'll just keep piling money in with merch and ticket sales and everything anyway. So we've already made money on the outgoings, but we haven't spent much anyway. I'll come to you in a sec, Jared. But what we've got is the goalkeeper position we've already upgraded because we've got Casper's come in and he's as good as Joe Hart was. Casper looks like an upgrade to me. Sinisalo is an upgrade over, geez, completely blanked the other guy, Benji Segrist. So we've upgraded that position.
Forgotten the guy already, fuck's sake.
Gotta love it. That was a little subtle dig at him. If O'Reilly stays for the Champions League, great. If he doesn't, and we sign someone, which we're going to talk about in a minute, then it's not ideal, but okay, I can understand what we're doing. Idah and Bernardo comes in now. They've got us back to where we were at the end of the season. So now we need to strengthen those other positions we're talking about, like a left back, like a left centre back, and maybe another winger. Who knows? But realistically, it's like where we are at the moment is we're in a good launching off place to hit the ground running. What were you going to say, Jared?
My last point on Idah's fee is his family are all in Ireland. They're all fans of Celtic. Just having Idah on a permanent deal, half of his wages or sign-on fee will be paid for in merchandise in Ireland.
100%. They're going to need to expand it. They still have the Celtic Superstore over there at the airport because they're going to need to expand it. I don't know if you boys saw it as well, but with Idah putting up his post, I'm just going to find it on my phone here because I can't see the one on the computer where it all links. But Idah put up a post on his Insta, and it was like, "Honey, I'm home." Right, but then there was another one, another post that he put up. I'm trying to find it right now, but it had that left centre back we've been looking at, Dara O'Shea, that we've been linked with, who plays with him in the Irish national team. He was like, "Love it, bud," and then the hand emoji, and I'm just like, "Get in, we need to get him in." But I've heard that we're looking at Bournemouth Welsh centre back Chris Meathan. That's the one where we're going in hard at for that position. And he's like naturally left-sided centre back. So, yeah.
Is he fast though? I didn't think he was that quick for what Brendan wanted.
I don't know either. I haven't seen much of him. But anyway.
My research is purely going off of stats in FIFA. Shouldn't probably admit that, but I looked at bringing him into my team, and I was like, "Nah, he's too slow."
I look at it and go, my stats are, what does Mahesh say for the stats talk? And then what do all the Celtic Dars say on Twitter? Yeah, so it's yeah, so Mahesh, you've just brought up one of the next topics anyway. Oh, there we go. Smell the Glove saying Meathan has played with CCV in the past. So there's already that ready to go as well. So yeah, what we're looking at is the rumor currently is, I'm just going to say here, Matt O'Reilly is still currently our player. There's nothing new to report there except the Scottish mainstream media are trying their best to link him to every club possible to get him to leave Celtic. That's my take on that. Southampton have apparently pulled out. Were they ever really in the game? The link there is his old MK Dons manager is the manager at Southampton. That's it. So you put that to the side. If O'Reilly was to move on, well, Celtic is currently being linked with Belgian midfielder Arne Engels from FC Augsburg playing in Germany. The talk is anywhere between 6 million to 10 million pound for him because he's in the last year of his contract. He's a 20-year-old. He's training with he's on the cusp of their senior national team. Played 50-odd first team games as well. So for me, everything I've seen, he looks the part like a like-for-like replacement to what O'Reilly was when he first came into Celtic, or maybe a little bit further along than that. So I think we've got a good one lined up there. If we spend that 6 to 10 million on him, I don't care. As we said earlier, the fees are relevant. Let's get the right player in. So I think he's a good sign up there. But then also, as Mahesh was saying here, there's stories of Celtic pursuing Dundee's McGowan, which would be a good acquisition. His performance metrics aren't far behind Matt O'Reilly. So that's Luke McGowan. We're also being linked with him. Apparently, he wants to move as well. So we could be strengthening the midfield as well. And what's Mahesh is saying, Engels' data suggests he is good as Matt O'Reilly, perhaps a very slight upgrade. That's not what I was expecting. So Mahesh said it, everyone. So yeah, we've got some options going on there in midfield as well. A few little rumours here and there. So what are your thoughts on that, Willie?
The Engels ones, I've watched a few videos on YouTube, and he's a player that sort of excites me. But then this time last year, I got my high hopes over a guy called Fabian Rieder, and it never materialised. So I'm not gonna bite on the hook this time round. But it is a player that would definitely improve the squad. Like.
What do you think, Jared?
For me, the perfect scenario would be getting a left centre back, another left back, and then bringing this kid in, but not selling Matt O'Reilly until the next window, so that we have that strong midfield that can go through the league, the cups, and the Champions League, and then sell Matt O'Reilly for an inflated fee because you always get more in the next window. So that, to me, that's the perfect scenario.
The funny thing, you saying that is exactly what I've been thinking. Like, if we're looking at Engels now going, he's the guy we want long term. We know we're not going to have O'Reilly for a year, 2, 3 years to go, right? And I always take that production line. He's the guy. If that's who we've identified, bring him in. And when we bring him in, he comes in and he's in that position where O'Reilly plays the Champions League. Engels will still get his games. And then after Champions League, if you get to the winter, O'Reilly wants to move on, as you're saying, Jared. He goes, we've got the replacement. And then if we bought McGowan as well, McGowan is now Engels' backup coming in. So we've got the production line going in that position. What that means is that Bernardo becomes Hatade's backup and Home becomes the third string there. That's the way I look at it. And then at the sixth position, you've got Kelmack, you've got Idah. I was going to say you get Quan, but he's gone out now. So we've got options there. So I think that's perfect forward planning. And then the middle of the field sorted. Now we've just got to sort the back out. And the market's going to go absolutely ballistic, I believe, over the next couple of weeks. So yeah, it's starting to kick off down in England a bit as well. So what do you think? Well, clubs down there having to pick their lineups and get everything sorted. So, Willie, are you thinking that we're going to start to see things ramp up in the transfer window, not just here, but clubs are looking to sell and we could get the bidding wars going for a few players? What are your thoughts on everything?
Yeah, the domino effect seems to be starting to kick in now. Like, I think the English clubs are starting making moves. They're all being a little bit coy. I mean, we all know that when there's a major tournament in the summer, the market seems to be a little bit slower towards the end and doesn't pick up till the end of the window. But yeah, I think we will start to see a few more moves coming in. They'll probably start seeing links with any player that's on the go. Players like Schlupp, who were linked with earlier in the week. I wouldn't be surprised if the board signed him and just says, "Well, there you go. There's your left back, left centre back, left winger, central midfielder, and he can play goalkeeper too at a push." Like so. Yeah, I do think things will start to pick up, but it just depends on. Like I said it last week that clubs will look to try and sign a player, but they can't sign said player until that said player's replacement's in the club. But these lines, these pegs will start lining, dots will start lining up, and you know, what I mean, it'll just all start snowballing from there.
So before we go to you here, Jared, we got some comments here. So RL77 saying, if we try buy O'Reilly, after O'Reilly leaves, the price goes up. By now, we know O'Reilly will go now or next window. And then as off the back of that here, we've got AJ was brought in for Jura leaving. O'Reilly brought in for Rogic leaving. History is there. If Engels is the guy, get him now. That's pretty much the best way. Anything to add to that? Got anything, Jared?
What was I going to say? No, on the England thing, I think, in the next couple of weeks, we'll probably start seeing more English players become available, because it looks like they do the opposite of us. We sell all of our players and then try and buy them. They stockpile and end up with way too many players, and then they've got to unload them, which could be to our benefit. Like, we could end up getting another Cameron Carter-Vickers, someone from a decent team down in England on a loan to buy, because they just don't have anything to do for them. So, I'm looking forward to that. Let's hope we can get a couple of people in. I don't really care what we spend. Let's freaking just do it.
Yep, 100%. So, I'm gonna share something with you guys, and the person who sent me this message is in the comments at the moment, right? So, hi mate, just a quick suggestion. If you don't happen to follow the Gucci Gaffer on Twitter X, he's well worth a follow. Some top quality vids taking the piss out of Sevco. Everyone, if you're on Twitter or X, get on there at Gucci_Gaffer. Check it out. There's some absolute gold there. So the person who sent me that, you know who you are. Thanks for that, mate. Appreciate it. But what we're going to do is we're going to have a bit of a chuckle and bring up a few of the memes and laugh at Rangers, basically. So I think them being eliminated in the Champions League qualifiers, losing at Hampden, was absolutely hilarious. But it was the ref's fault, is one of the main things we're saying, and the result in the Meltdown is hilarious. So we'll bring up a few things. So did he say it, Willie? I know it's not the right actual ground, but did he say it after the game? You're on mute, Willie.
Yeah, second or third word he said in his interview post-match, I was pissing myself laughing. Oh, there it is. Didn't even have to wait.
We got this one here. So Marco Guida is a Fenian bastard Italian referee who officiates in the Serie A. He's been a FIFA referee since 2014. Yep, it's been updated on his wiki. Happens all the time. Willie was trying to
question on that one, was it the Rangers fans or the Celtic fans that updated that? Like,
whoever did it's right, so you got to love it. So what were you did you want to name the pod tonight, Willie?
I wanted to name the Marco Guidi CSC or appreciation show. Like,
we've got some follow screenshots here. So there's one person saying, why can't any of our players hit a powerful shot? McCaw's on the first half with that effort from Matondo, weak as piss. Then yep, all our shots are scuffs. And then you've got another one, should be demanding a replay. For what? Because your team's crap. Scotland's coefficient. This was an absolute belter of one. Depressing result for Rangers to drop in a pot one of the Europa League phase, but pots don't matter. Rangers estimated earnings in the Champions League would have been €43 million before ticket sales. Europa League, it's around 12 million. Tonight's match alone was worth 4.29 million. So basically, the cost of Kyogo is what they lost.
Didn't Clement come out and say it's halted their rebuild as well? Because that's what they were counting on.
So we'll be seeing Butland getting sold soon. They're already having a few. Their young academy prospects have been linked away. Yeah, it's all happening.
Oh, and he also said, it's another thing I said, it's going to affect them getting players in the door as well. So I think that's him just already making excuses because they weren't getting anyone in the door anyway.
Well, let's be honest. Beale spent all of their summer and middle of the year money this time last year, old mate Baltimore, Clement spent all their summer's money now when he first come in. So in their summer market, they've got no money. They've got to sell. You got so many of their fans are losing their marbles. It's great. I'm loving seeing this sort of.
Do you think they miss Beale? Because when you look at it, he has a better record.
Well, I think it's one of the ones I'm bringing up here about his record. So this one was brilliant. Cheating and ineptitude, same season as usual. We work up a bucket of coefficient points in that bastard Thursday Cup. For this, we'll get chucked a handful of spare Lira, Reichmarks, and Tiger tokens that are lying at the back of UEFA's Diddy mob drawers. Then they'll go, Celtic will get I'm not going to say what they've written because it's they're scum, and the guy's got a Russian flag as his picture, that says it all. Get the GDP of Asia for losing 12-0 to some Krauts. They bring in Rebel Randomizer, innocently arranges fixtures. They get 3 days to prepare for weekend's games against Dundee and Hibs at home. We get back from Flonky Donkistan. That's a new one. So late, we get flying into Aberdeen Airport for kickoff in 12 hours. They're fresh with knacker, we lose the league. They qualify for the Champions League group stages based on us knacker and our league chances on the Thursday night. All while I'm living in a cardboard box. These guys. Poor Diddums. Look at Willie. His face he's losing it over there.
I can't help but laugh. You know, I mean, he just everything. It's like the banter years is becoming one of the longest running sitcoms in Scottish entertainment. Not only has the team been parked out of Europe, but the lifts have arrived for this new refurbishment of the stadium. The doors are on the wrong way around. It's just one calamity after another. It's just a gift that keeps on giving.
I don't know.
Honestly,
I don't know what's been running longer, Willie. Home and away, Days of Our Lives, Neighbours, Towie, or the banter years. I don't know what's been running longer.
There's one of the ones that stuck out for me. There's a guy on follow. His name's Purcell's Headbutt, and his quote is, "Fuck me, they'd be going for 14 in a row if it wasn't for one freak season." And it's not often you see Rangers fans who are humble and honest, but I'll give him his kudos for that. I will say though, there is silver lining here at the end of all this. Like, their stadium will be ready for the next Champions League qualifier.
Can they use it? I heard because they played their first home game at Hampden in Europe, they have to then play all European games at Hampden, even if Ibrox is ready.
I don't know the ins and outs on that. Like, I think it could be right. I've heard a few people say that, like, so I don't know.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if it was all Europe or if they get out the Champions League and they go to UEFA, then it's different or that. But that'll be interesting.
So how it works boys, is that their record is, it depends on, like, because this is a Champions League qualifier, they have to play all their group stage games through to at the same stadium. So they'll be at Hampden until the knockouts. Then if they get in after Christmas, they've got elimination games in January, February, whatever, they can play them at Ibrox. That's how I understand it. But where Willie's joke there, Jared, was they'll be back in Ibrox for the Champions League the next time they get to it. So that's either next year or the year after or the year after that or whatever. The comedian missed the joke, Willie.
I know that.
So following on from the ones before, we had about the Scotland's coefficient one. They go, does that mean more money for Celtic from the TV pool? Because it doesn't work like that in the new format. Market isn't shared, so he's carrying on a bit there. At the end of the day, we went into this game with the right back who has done a striker that needs 20 shots and a number 10 who wouldn't run the 100 metres in 10 minutes. We don't have a real style of play. We don't have the players. And then about Butler, he's been a shambles for a while. He had a few decent saves here and there, but we're starting to see why he's been a bit of a nomad, worth giving Kelly a chance to give him a shake. So they turned on him. It was a disappointing performance. There you go, Willie. This one on the huddle board. What do you mean you're not thrilled with Thursday nights at a 23k Hampden against the sixth best team from Poland? That one commenter there is absolutely perfect. And Crispy Colin, hey, was Dan not on the pod tonight? Oh, that's right, because Penrith's getting beaten by the Storm at the moment, 10-0. Had to say it. So when he tunes in, listens, as long as we win, otherwise I'm going to cop it from him big time. Paddy Power, this is the most embarrassing night for Rangers Football Club since they stopped being Rangers Football Club. Give me this one here was pretty good.
You should give that guy a follow.
What's that? Paddy Power.
Yeah. It's like, don't follow him.
Well, this isn't even from my account, mate.
Someone's screenshotting it. It's not even following him. Who had done that?
I don't know.
See that one there you've got up right now? If they put all 12 million that they're going to make from the Europa League on Celtic to win the league at 1-4, they would only make 3 million. That would even pay off Hummel with the court case this year. Like,
they're not good at maths, are they? That's called Sevconomics right there. Losing out on £43 million because we wanted to give people who can't feel their legs a more comfortable seat. Fucking hell. I should have looked at that before I brought it up.
that's our side.
Oh, shit. There you go. Disgruntled Bear. Ryan Jack running to an open goal. Running to open goal, Bear mouthing his players for the Masters just doesn't sit right. He was one of many players that fell short of what was required. He just didn't get what we're about. So they're starting to turn on everyone. Guys, they used to say Ryan Jack was like their hard man, and now they're turning on him. This one is shocking. Corey, hope Russia wins the war. Idiots. There's all sorts of ones here. Baldy Bassie. Rangers currently have no CEO, no academy director, no home stadium, an utterly vomit-inducing squad for players who don't want to be here, yet we can't get rid of them. We're out of the Champions League, already 2 points behind them, had to settle a Hummel lawsuit out of court. Yep. I'm enjoying this, if you can't tell. It's probably the most I've smiled on a podcast in a long time. And then you've got stuff like this saying, I'm seeing some people say that they shouldn't have sacked GVB, get Pedro back as boss. That game was worth a couple of steel beams. Yeah. Smell the glove. Basically, anything Sevco touches turns to shit. RR77, the banner years have been carbon dated back to Stonehenge. Yeah, some good stuff going on there. We got this one. Champions League, not Rangers. That one there is brilliant.
Who is that?
That's Danilo, isn't it? Danilo always walks with a limp. Get him in the Pedro garden. Love it. And then we've got this one, staring at the Champions League. This Robin Barner thing here. Decision to send Jeff Duff is quite literally one of the worst calls we've seen. Nonsense that VAR can't get involved in something like that. Consequences, bad calls, literally worth millions to Rangers. Referee Mark Guida has had an absolute nightmare there. You know who's had a nightmare? And this has been seen by 77,000 people. Robin Banner has had a nightmare there, not knowing the rules. Because it's a second yellow. It cannot be reviewed by VAR. Know the rules, mate. Know the rules.
And he might have got a second yellow and got sent off, but that's Clement's fault. Like, I heard that he got his yellow, and the ref actually gave him multiple warnings, and then they replaced a winger, but kept him on. It's like, so why is he bringing off the other winger and not the guy who is constantly getting warnings and is already on a yellow? Like, the foul might have not been like a proper foul or whatever, not yellow worthy when you look back at it. But realistically, if the manager's doing his job properly, he shouldn't have been on the field at that time anyway.
He was warned 2 or 3 minutes before it, like, so.
Yeah. The thing as well is they're going, oh, he didn't jump, he didn't have a raised arm. Yeah, but his arm, because he jumped that high, one of his elbow did impact the guy's head. So letter of the law, it is a yellow. So if you get a different camera angle, the ref got it right. So I don't care what you say. Clip that, Rangers fans. Again.
Yeah, they're just saying it's not a red. And it's like, well, guess what? We agree. It's not a red. But,
red. But
multiple warnings. Already a yellow. It all adds up.
It's not a red card, but it's a yellow. And it's a second yellow, which is red card. See you later. Go have an early shower. So that's on your manager and the dirty player. Anyway, last few of these to have a laugh at. We've played 19 competitive games since March 1st and won 7 of them. Where's Danilo? Limping along. The idea that we should have extended the contract of a manager who's struggling to impose any system that works is one of the bizarre moments of a summer that has been one pile of shit after another. Come on, Willie, you know you want to say something here.
That's insane. Like, they've extended his contract. They're still paying off Mark Warburton. Apparently, when they gave GVB the HEFO, they were still paying off Mark Warburton. And it wasn't long after that they gave Michael Beale the HEFO. So it looks like they're going to have, their 4th or 5th manager in Guardian League by the time Chris Santa comes around to give us all presents.
They've got 3. They're currently paying 4 managers. They're paying off 3 previous. They got Warburton, Beale, GVB, and then they're paying for Clement as well. So that's probably why they locked him in, because they're like, whatever.
And they're still paying John Beaton.
So here's another one from that Novo bloke. Awful game, awful ref, awful subs by the manager. No winning good enough for Champions League. Highly doubt we'll see anything in terms of Europa League either. Team from 3 years ago would smash this one. Second half sponsored by paper cuts, disgraceful refereeing, lack of quality with at least 2 players on the field to look absolutely done. Pathetic evening. Borders had 4 months to play and knowing we would need to qualify. And these guys are out of control. Regression welcome since the title came. A board willing to fight harder for their own commercial deals than putting a side on the park capable of taking us to where we should be. Rangers fans deserve better, but it's okay. John Bennett is a Rangers fan. The guys are an absolute shambles. And the last one is, are you Beale in disguise? So there's been some absolute crackers. And this is me using some of the more tame sort of ones so that I don't get the channel flagged massively on YouTube for languages or some of the videos and stuff that I could have played for copyrights and stuff. So that's why I've kept it how it is there. But the next thing I want to know, boys, is the ramifications. They talked on it about the coefficient. So I'll bring them up. So in the Champions League, I've got one that's a lot easier to see here. We're on 32 points. We're guaranteed to be a pot 3 team in the Champions League. So that means we'll play 2 of pot 1, 2 of pot 2, 1 other pot 3 club, and 2 pot 4 clubs in our 8 games in the Champions League this year. So that there is the best one I could get of the Rangers situation. They're pot 1, but then you look at who's in the other. So they've got, like, in pot 1, it's Roma, Man United, Porto, Ajax, the Huns, Eintracht Frankfurt, Lazio, Tottenham. And then you go into pot 2, and there's like Alkmaar, Bruges, Olympiacos, Lyon, Red Star Belgrade, Fenerbahce, Real Sociedad. And you just go through and you look at some of them. There's a whole bunch of. They should be doing us a favor, racking up some points in my particular for the coefficient, which will come in handy for next year.
And you said, don't we play 2 teams in each pot, no matter what pot you're in anyway? No. So we still play 2 teams in our pot because there's 8 games.
Good point.
So what I heard, because I didn't bother looking up, because I heard it doesn't really matter what pot you're in,
right.
you play 2 teams in every pot as well.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter what pot you're in.
Yeah. You get 8 games, you play 2 in each of those pots, so that'd be handy. Well, there you have it. Good pickup. There it is. Yep.
2 teams. Yeah.
So realistically, we'll have to qualify for next season most likely. So we'd go through in the be in the same sort of situation the Huns are in at the moment. Smell the glove saying it here. The Hummel out of court settlement's apparently 6.5 million as well, so they saved 3 million on that. But the best part is they're still having to pay rent as well at Hampden. They got all sorts. They're leaking money. It's great. See them go down the gurgler. Let's see third Rangers come in.
They could probably, by the end of all the money they've wasted, they could have bought 2 Idahs.
Yep.
See, we got a bargain.
So, last thing I want to talk about with the Huns is that there's going to be none of them at Paradise in the next Glasgow derby. How bloody good. So, on that, apparently Celtic spent about 200 grand this off-season putting up netting and stuff to make safe walkways and stuff in and out for the away fans. They were supposed to do the same over at Ibrox, but they're not playing at Ibrox. That setup isn't put in place for Hampden, so our guys don't go there. Their mob aren't coming to us. What do you think, Willie?
Yeah, if we're going to spend some money to get all the safety requirements, and they're not even going to apply for a planning permission to start work, so they're bidding them, why should we let them in our stadium? Like, you know what I mean? There's no guarantees the way this works is going at Ibrox that they'll be back in time for the New Year's derby. So I have no problem with the club taking these steps at all, because like the Rangers have zero credibility we left when it comes to stadium management right now. So yeah, good on them. Like, you know what I mean? And I'll throw this one in for a good measure too. They cut the allocation first. Like, it should be up to them to open the gates for a larger allocation first. So if it comes in the New Year's derby that we'll get 2,500 fans in there, then that's where the starting point should be. So yeah, get it happening.
Yep, fair enough. And Jared, what's your thoughts?
Well, I don't think it's a good thing. Like, we should be having away fans, but I understand why it's happening. It's like it's their own fault. If they had their crap together, then we could have both had our away fans, which back to the way it should be. But the way that they're going, they've just ruined it for everyone again. Because it's what should be happening, and it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, it's actually a I like the derby when you've got, like, say if you've got a game at Hampden, for instance, and it's a 50-50, it's good to have the atmosphere. But then my opinion's pretty simple here. They went for the staunch points by scaling it back because they got sick of seeing us celebrating in their stadium all the time. So it's not us. We're just responding in turn. So as you said, Willie, they need to be the ones, letting the guard down and making it happen again, and putting up the safety in that so that their fans can't throw bottles of Bucky at us and plastic cups at our guys. If they throw a plastic cup full of piss at us, only the piss is going to get through, not a cup as well, hitting someone in the head. They need to do something about that because these guys are a bunch of ferals. I know there are. I'm going to say this, and this isn't what my opinion is. I've never met a good Hun in my life, but I know people who say there are some good Huns out there. There are good Rangers fans. The difference between Huns and Rangers fans, like, there's some good ones, and then there's some absolute fucking idiots out there who are dirty bastards. I've only ever met those dirty bastard ones. I've never met a good one in my life. Willie looks like he probably knows a few of the good ones.
I do actually. I've got good friends who are Rangers fans, and the banter we get between each other is pretty one-directional in these days. Like, but it used to come at me quite thick and fast too. Like, so. But again, you go back to this away allocation thing. They've nobody to blame for themselves. They've tried. They've spat their dummy out because we party too hard in their own stadium, and this is all the creation of this is all their own making. This mess. Like, so. No sympathy whatsoever for them on it.
Yep,
I agree. I think there's probably a few good Huns out there. Any group has its bad people and its good people. Like there's probably a few, like there was probably a few decent Nazis out there at the time as well. And I think Rangers, like they need to go all in with this allocation thing. Like, don't just not let Celtic fans in the stadium. They should ban their own fans from the stadium as well, because the last time they were successful, everyone was banned from the stadium. So why don't they look back in history and look at what works for them? And it's having no one there.
Okay, so if this pod gets cut off at the 50-minute mark on YouTube after with the lives over and everything, we know exactly what the point for that was. That bloke in a Goonies shirt saying that you know, there would have been some good Nazis. What the fuck? Oh shit.
I'd just like to point out, Gerard's views do not reflect that of the Celtic Down Under team or the YouTube channel.
But they do reflect the Celtic Corner YouTube channel.
Yes.
Ah, brilliant. I was out of control. I've never like that's the funniest thing, I reckon. Where's Dan when you need him? He would have been like, shut up, Jared. Yeah. Oh, idiots. Idiots we are. Bunch of us. Anyway, let's get into the game on the weekend. So it's Sunday, 3 p.m. if my maths is right. So midnight kickoff for us here. There'll be 2 a.m. Monday morning for you, Willie.
Yeah.
How are you going to cope? So we're playing
I
Hibs
don't
again.
know.
So we're playing Hibs again, and my general thoughts heading into the game, pretty simple. If we take our chances, if they play the same way they did last week, and we play the same this time, we'll be putting 5 or 6 past them. Like, we take our chances. It's going to see good to have Idah out there because Kyogo's carrying a shoulder injury. Yeah, I think we're going to absolutely slaughter them on the weekend. It's not going to be nice.
Yeah.
What are you thinking, Jared? Any thoughts on the game? And then we'll get into our starting lineups after we go around the room on it. So, what do you think?
I was just thinking, can they be as bad as they were? Like, is it possible for them to be as bad as they were last week? Are they going to get a revving? Because if they come out and play the same as they did last week, their manager shouldn't make it back to the dressing room. Like, they didn't look like they were playing as a team. Like, their players didn't look like they wanted to be there. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and think that they're going to be a little bit better. But we're still going to beat them. But I'm going to go 3-0. I don't think we're going to flog the crap out of them. I think we're going to do a little bit better. But yeah, I think we'll win 3-0. They are going to be missing their best player for this weekend, a guy named Whun. He won't be able to play for them because he's a lone player for us. So that's going to hurt them as well.
Yeah,
beat you. Smell the glove. He knew where I was going.
So you got that. Vanessa's dropping some knowledge on Kyogo, so he needs to toughen up. So we're going to mail him over some cement tablets. Vanessa, what do you think? Willie, you got any thoughts heading into the game?
I think, well, it's going to be a comfortable win, 3-4-0 again. I think Hibs are just going to have to hit the low block very early and try and hang in the match as long as they can. But I don't think they will. It's a pitiful attempt last season at the League Cup for us, so I think the players and the manager will both be out to try and rectify that. So, yeah, I think we'll win, and I think we'll win comfortably.
Is there a rule in Scottish football that you can only loan one player from a club per club? Because I would honestly say if Quan's gone to Hibs, I wouldn't mind Yang going there as well, and the two of them playing together. So I don't know. Is there a rule that they can only have one from one club and you can have two loans from within your league? I know that used to be a rule like that. Because either that or send Yang over to St Mirren. It worked well there, but yeah, it's I'm looking at it going. This weekend's game should be interesting. Starting lineups. So I've been saying all along, I want to have a cup keeper. So Sinisalo to start in goal. And then we'll have the Bricky out right. We'll start Carter Vickers and Scales. And then we will have Taylor on the left. Middle of the park, I would be starting Awada. Kelmack can go to the bench. And then I keep Hatade in there. And do we start Bernardo or do we start O'Reilly? I'd probably keep O'Reilly just with the form he's in. And then up front, I'm going to go Kyogo can have the game off. Maida can start at striker. Idah can come off the bench. And then on the wings, we can go with Whun and Forrest again because they've been doing well. And score prediction. I'm going to go my score prediction straight away already. I said we're going to absolutely flog them. We're going to beat them 7-0. And Whun's going to have a hat trick by half time. There you go, Jared. I thought you'd get a bit of a boner over that. Anyway, Willie?
Right, my starting lineup would be Sinisalo in goals, Johnson, CCV, Scales, Taylor, Carmack, O'Reilly and Bernardo in the middle, Whun, Maeda and Idah up front. I think we're going to go for this. Like I said, we didn't put a very good effort into the League Cup last year, and I think we'll try and rectify that. So, but I'm interested to see if Sinisalo does start. That's a big one for me. So I like to see what this boy can do. I think he's a good goalkeeper, and I think this is where he's going to start getting his games. So, and I also put it in my furious predictions that he could be our unsung hero if we win either of the cups with him in goal. Interesting to see.
Before we go to you, Jared, smell the glove saying Idah had a preseason and played a few 30 minutes for Norwich to start him. Good point. I'd slipped my mind. So I will tweak my starting lineup. I'll start Idah and I'll put Maeda on the left with Whun and James. He can come off the bench at halftime once Whun's got his hat trick by halftime. There we go. And Jared, starting lineup and score prediction.
Well, I keep going back to what Brendan Rodgers said, and he said at the start of the season he doesn't want to make a lot of changes. I don't know if he just meant in the league or if it was overall. So I don't see there being as many changes as you guys have. I think Schmeichel will start because he hasn't done anything yet. I think maybe it might be too early to bench him for someone else. Scales, Carter Vickers starting centre backs. Ralston right back because he has played in the preseason. He's been rotated in. Taylor at left back. I think McGregor's going to start because he's captain and he normally, just from history, he's always just started anyway. With Hatate, I think O'Reilly will be on the bench and Bernardo will start. And then I think up front we will start with Maeda, Kyogo and Whun.
Nice. And you said 3-0 earlier on. Willie, what was your score prediction?
3-0.
Yeah, I'm going 3-0 as well. Idah, Maeda and O'Reilly.
All right. So I'm the only mental one here saying 7-0. Happy days. Brilliant. All right. So with that, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. We're going to go to our final thoughts. So, Jared, do you want to go first?
What have I got for final? Jeez, I need to remember that this thing happens.
Pass.
No.
Final thoughts. Yeah, Jared, you need to think about final thoughts for next week, right?
Yeah. I'll make a note.
My final thought is this year. It's all because of Ray Gunn. We spoke about it on Monday. Losing Steve Irwin is now the second worst thing to happen to Australia. Oh, that's bad. Anyway, I went there. Hail, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
Hail.
See you next week.